All right, welcome to the September 25th, 2024 meeting of the Homeless Housing Advisory Board. I will change to the chair. We hope we'll have some members of the public listening in. We may have some news on that during this meeting. So I'm calling the meeting to order. I'll do a roll call first. So Julianne Ramsey, Corinne Hopkins, Stephen Chip Hennessy, Karen Cameron, here. Philip Ogram, here. Amy Teodoro, not here, but we're hoping to zoom in. And let's see, we can send this to them. Okay, so we have a forum. Next, I'll do a review of our agenda. We have a fairly light agenda tonight. We might find some interesting things to talk about. We'll be approving our minutes as item number 3. We'll have public participation via Zoom. After that, open comment and then matters from the board. We're going to debrief our panel discussion we had last month, homeless housing solutions for the homeless, which we thought was super interesting. We hope that Danny Teodoro will be able to zoom in and join us. We have a conflict with a business matter, as he's supposed to do an informational item on employer-created housing for employees. He's had a lot of experience with that in the mountain communities he works in. Item C would be a discussion regarding adding in-person to current virtual only meetings. That's something that some of our members of the public have brought up, as well as Chip, a member of the board. That's an informational item, but it's something we may act on soon. Item D is considering moving our meeting back from October 23rd to October 30th, because there is a conflict with the modular housing factory ribbon cutting that Jenny Signet knows we've been working so hard on for some years. Item 6 on the agenda is debriefing the meter and calendar check, and then we'll be adjourning by 9 o'clock. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from August 28th, 2024?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Okay. All in favor? Great. Jay, you want to review the rules of public participation before I invite anyone to comment? Do we have anyone?
There's 2 people.
2 people? Great. Yep. Happy to do it. All right. Let's see if I can get any faster with this. Right. So we have the city has engaged with community members, co-create a vision for productive, meaningful, inclusive civic conversations that will support the emotional, physical, and safety of community members, staff, etc. For more information, you can go to the City of Boulder website. The following examples are rules of the forum found in Boulder Revised Code. All remarks and testimony shall be limited to matters related to business. No participant shall make threats or use other forms of intimidation, obscenities, racial epithets, and other speech and behavior that disrupts the meetings are prohibited. Participants are required to sign up to speak using their name that they're commonly known by, and please display your whole name before you'll be allowed to speak. Only audio testimony is permitted online. That's it.
We've got Mark.
Yeah, we ready for Mark?
Hi, folks. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, Mark.
All right, great. Hi. I've got to say, by the way, your public participation requirements are so much shorter than city council. I'm grateful to not have to listen to 5 minutes of that. But I would first like to request, and I know this is on the agenda later, but we don't have a chance to say this during that public participation part, in terms of restoring the hybrid option for public participation. For instance, right now, I can't see Karen and Jay or anybody else. Hi, Karen. Nice to see you. But this is typical, howdy, and others of just the Zoom experience is just not the same thing at all as in person. So I would request that you restore that. I would like the city to do that for all committees and boards. I'm not just picking on you guys. So that, and the only other thing I wanted to say is, once again, I ask HAB to integrate more discussion about 53% of the housing population, namely rental issues, because that is a really important policy issue that doesn't get nearly the attention that I think it should be. And I think this body is one of the best places for that public discussion on better tenant protection and rental housing issues in general. And I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Yes, follow-up.
You're all done?
Yes, I'm finished.
Yeah, thank you for those comments. We actually have the topic of having more open meetings on tonight's agenda, and staff's been looking into that and the technical possibilities and challenges of having a hybrid meeting. And I think I hope you'll continue to listen in and hear about that, because it seems fairly promising that we'll be able to do that.
Can I follow up with a question?
Sure.
Mark, what's your short list of things that the city ought to be doing to make life better for renters? And similarly, what's the short list of things you'd like to see have focused on?
Well, thanks for asking. I would like to see more discussion on some specific tenant protection issues, which would include using the Boulder model lease, having the landlord-tenant handbook be a mandatory, making it mandatory for all residents to get it when they sign the lease. Most tenants have no idea what their rights are in Boulder or anywhere in Colorado for that matter. And there are some other issues too, including some perhaps backdoor attempts in terms of rent control that Tacoma, Washington has undertaken. So those are just some of the issues that could be out there and discussed.
Is there a template for like a renter's rights agreement that another city uses that we might look at?
Well, yes, there is the Boulder model lease, which is a document that was created like 30 years ago by a committee of landlords, tenants, and third parties that large landlords said they would use but never have. And few people even know of the existence of this document. And it might need some updating because laws have changed, but anyway, that's the short answer to that.
I should have known that because I rent an apartment in my house, so and we do use it about the rental agreement.
Great.
Mark, would you mind briefly explaining what Tacoma does that sort of quasi rent control?
My understanding is what they do is, by the way, the state of Washington is one of many states that also ban rent control. So Tacoma has come up with a clever way by saying they won't limit the rent, but they will say that tenants are entitled to a relocation fee if their rent goes up to a certain percentage. And or that a month and a half worth of deposit needs to be returned to them if the rent goes up to a certain amount. So that's the way they get around that. And apparently it's been successful so far. It's been in place, and I need to do more research on it myself. but that's the quick version of it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those comments. Do we have another member of the public who would like to comment?
Other hands are raised.
That's it. Okay.
Nobody else, sir?
I'm gonna go off script for a moment and ask ML to, if you don't mind, debrief us on the planning board conversation I forgot to. And I'm also lucky to have our planning board liaison who just took a big mouthful of food. ML Robles here is, on the way that you mentioned this very site we're sitting on in Alpine Balsam was a discussion last night. So when you're ready.
It was a very long, I think there were 6 motions that we needed to weigh in on. And the interesting thing, so just big picture, the site is broken up into 3 projects. The project that includes the pavilion, this building, and the parking garage is being done by out-of-town architects associated with the local architect. So that's one piece. Then the housing, there is a center kind of in the middle of the property there that is being developed by Boulder Housing Partners with affordable housing, senior housing, just sort of various components. And then facing the park, there'll be market rate townhouses. And then on the corner of Alpine and Broadway, there'll be another building that has some rent restriction. Is Alpine? No, other way. So Balsam, sorry. Balsam and Broadway. And it'll have the commercial pieces on that one. Of course, the pavilion is intended to house the city staff and relocating a lot of the staff in one location. There was one, most of these were amending pieces of the form-based code, which most of the site is subject to, which planning board really doesn't have a role on, but the staff decided to bring planning board in. And so those were complex and in understanding and, kind of getting through the issues, but there wasn't a lot of input that we were giving on that because, we weren't being asked, what do you think of, is it a good looking building or not, or is it not meeting the site criteria? Because there isn't any of that in form-based code. There was one piece, which is the pavilion building and this building and the parking garage, which is basically site and use review. And that was very interesting because we did make amendments to their proposed motions. One of them was maintain that little commercial area along Broadway in the parking garage. That was intended to just go away and become, all parking. It's like the experience for the people who walk along Broadway there, which is a lot. I mean, this is a very this neighborhood is a very vibrant neighborhood as far as walking, because that's a commercial area across Broadway there, and people come from the neighborhood. And I think that the main streets that are proposed for the project will be highly populated by the neighborhoods as well. We're cutting through and going through to get from A to B. So big picture, it's a big site. It's a complicated process. The pavilion and these buildings here are part of phase 1, as it were. So they are getting rather than later. What's happening on the main side is a lot of the infrastructure things. But something I didn't realize, along Balsam, there will be a greenway, and I don't know if they're going to daylight Goose Creek or not, but it's really a very nice feature that I had not been aware that they were doing. So Yeah, it goes to city council. I don't know when, Jay, when it goes to city council, this fall sometime it goes to city council. So that the project can keep moving forward, but, the housing, I don't think they'll be working on any housing in phase one. They're just doing infrastructure for that site. And in the interim, we're trying to think of how to reuse. That's the point, the reusing the existing buildings.
Is there anything in that package that planning board specifically approved so it could move forward?
Everything, all of the requested motions were approved in some fashion or other. The site and use review ended up with, I think, 3 amendments, having to do with maintaining the commercial along the street because it's in the zone that requires that. So denying their change of use to a parking was one of the motions, and the others was dealing with the aesthetics of that garage building and, some of those concerns. And I don't remember the third one. The meeting ended at 12:30 midnight, so we were just trying to stay. I've never seen so much information in one spot at our meetings. It was big and it was important. And I would encourage you folks to go to the city council when they present to city council, or at least take a look at that, just to get a sense of the scope of the proposal. The thing that I was, but what do you do about it, right? The thing that I was disappointed at was, the city owns the land, and it's a city-driven project, and, we've been told all along that it's going to be affordable housing. Well, there's a significant amount of market rate housing going to happen there, which I think is the only for sale. Everything else will be rental.
So that would be PHP is the master developer, they develop all the affordable rental housing.
Yeah, so Coleman was part of that presentation with that, and the market rate. Coleman is doing everything that isn't these existing buildings.
What happened in this plan to the beautiful parking lot we look at it every meeting to the between us and Hungry Toad?
It wasn't discussed. This building, nothing was shown as evolving. It was just a parking garage.
Right.
And it's just like doing a lot of aesthetic moves on the parking garage. And we're like, does the city really want to spend its money that way? That was the biggest criticism, was why would we want to decorate a garage? It's a garage. Let's call it a garage and, use some good design moves. I think that was the biggest sort of point that planning board was making. This is like, and it was interesting because the city is both the applicant and the city. It's applying to itself. So I think that it would be good for people to show up at city council and weigh in, because we're the city, right? We're not obviously the planning department, but it doesn't really have that process that a private client has with their developer. We're all one and the same. So it's an interesting project, and it'll be very impactful, in a good way. And that's what I kept reminding them. We want a paseo. We want to be able to come out and enjoy the public spaces and have all these new neighbors and bring a whole collection of new different people to the neighborhood, because it's a pretty, this is part of the old original Boulder, and there's not a lot of diversity in income or people here. So I think it's going to make a difference.
Right.
And I do believe that it's going to make a very positive difference. I think we have to keep our eye on it, would be I think was the biggest thing that we're recognizing is, it's fuzzy as to who's the developer and who's the city. So, but no, it was a great, big, fat, long meeting. And I think we addressed a lot of the issues very carefully.
Thank you. Any questions from the board about, do we know when the city council meeting is?
I believe it's sometime in October, but I'd have to check. Can I just add one thing?
Sure.
So that, in terms of the percentage of affordable housing at the site. Just to be clear, it was never the intention that every single housing unit there would be permanently affordable. And what we have now is actually the highest concentration of affordable housing compared to anywhere else in the city. And it's always been the intention too, that those two market rate parcels would be sold to help pay for that affordable housing. So that was, we tried to be clear about that, and maybe you weren't as clear as we could have been.
Is that someone analogous to 30 Pearl when they built the affordable first, and it was, I think, Marguerite townhomes going in?
Yep. And BHP was the master developer for that site as well. One of those partners is going to put in all the infrastructure. Theoretically, we're selling buildings that have already been sort of fully entitled, pre-approved, which hopefully we can get a decent amount of money.
Okay, well, it's been 10 years. We're looking forward to.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a little bit longer because, you know, BHP can't apply for low-income housing tax credits until the building is fully removed from the floodplain. So that's why, like, greenway work has to be done, there has to be surveyed. FEMA has to approve not just the design, but then the actual as-built. And that's gonna take about 1.5 to 2 years.
The Greenway is a key part of the flood control. That is, like Goose Creek, I think, goes into the whole site, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, I mean, it's in a pipe right now, but it'll be daylighted.
It will be daylighted. I saw the little blue line and I'm like, whoa, what was that? Sorry, that was a jalapeno in the middle. Dying over here.
Wow. 30 years ago, I proposed daylight at Goose Creek and the neighbors started a petition against it, even though it was just an idea. But all the good ideas come around.
We'll give you credit for it, Michael.
No, I'm not. It's been talked about for a long time.
I don't want to, when would be a good time? I just wanted to respond to one of the things that Mark said.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
He mentioned workarounds on the rent control. So it's my understanding under state law in Colorado, municipalities like Boulder cannot do rent control, just period. And I think a workaround is probably gonna land the city in some sort of legal trouble if they try to work around. Just because it's state law that we can't do it. I think the best goal, which is beyond the scope of what we do here and the city does, is to lobby the General Assembly if that's what people want. But I will say this, under the recent law we had, it says you can't terminate a lease without cause. And this is a very new law, so it hasn't been tested. It basically says if someone's been leasing a unit for a year or more, you can't terminate their lease unless you have a good reason. And then it lists all sorts of reasons. One reason is you want to move back into your home. So you can terminate the lease and tell the tenant they need to get out. But you can't just terminate because you need a reason. And one of the reasons is that the tenant will not sign a new lease with reasonable terms. And basically the law contemplates if your landlord wants you out, you've been there for 3 years and they're like, well, I'm going to double your rent. I think you have a good argument that's not a lease with reasonable terms. Now, what's reasonable, the law doesn't really fill that in. That's something that's going to have to get litigated. But I do wonder if, your landlord says, you've lived here for 3 years, I'm going to renew your lease, you have a month to sign it for the next year, and I'm increasing your rent by 30%. And the rent's going to be 30% higher than all the neighbors' units. I think there's an argument there that perhaps that's not a lease with reasonable terms. That's not the same as rent control. It says rent can only increase 3% per year. But what is reasonable? That's up for a lot of debate. And I am wondering, maybe something the city could do is create a dashboard of sorts, like how much does rent increase on average per year in Boulder? Just like numbers that people can look at that tell them what's reasonable. Of course, the landlord might say, I haven't raised your rent in 10 years, so I'm going to raise it more than 5%. And there's an argument maybe that's reasonable, but I think maybe information, that's something the city could be equipped to do, is put out information, demographic information on, what is average rent in the city of Boulder for a 1 bedroom, for a 2 bedroom, for a 3 bedroom, what is the current market rate? Obviously, it varies between units. What is the average increase in rent year over year? Kind of statistical information, if that's available to the public. I don't know if it is right now, but maybe that's something that could help people in this conversation as to what are reasonable terms, because the legal landscape has shifted a little bit in that respect. And I think we're all sort of figuring out how does that law play out, but information I think could be helpful to people. And even on a more informal basis, a tenant might say, hey, according to the city's website, rent increases on average 5% last year, and you're trying to increase it on me 20%. Like, can you come down? Having that information available might be helpful to people. So it's a thought.
Wait, have anything like that, James?
Well, let me start with the rent control. So that is actually on the city council agenda for our legislative agenda for the state. So that's been a policy for, I think, several years now. But anyway, the city will advocate for some sort of local control in terms of rent control. Tracking rents, we've tried really hard over the years to try to look at, what are, just to get even, rough numbers over time. There is no real consistent data source, which is the biggest challenge. And I don't remember all the specifics, but the last time that we tried to do it, it was just, we thought we had this great new data source, and then they changed their methodology, changed all their numbers, and it just became a nightmare to try to track, unfortunately. It's just, there's no centralized place to do that. Home sales, we got that, because there's an agency, Realtors Association that tracks all that for you.
Probably have to consult with the city attorney's office, but when Boulder does its rental licenses, can they ask that demographic information of the landlords? How much are you leasing the units at this year?
That's true.
There might be an argument that the city doesn't have grounds to ask that information that's private. I'm sure some private businesses would not want to tell the government that, but that could be a way of doing it. Whether or not it's legal, I think the city attorney's office would have to look into that.
That's a really good idea.
Great, good information from you. Thank you.
So those are my thoughts.
Okay, we're going to keep moving. Before we go to the matters from the board, I'm just going to ruminate a little bit. Housing has really been in the news even more than ever recently, since now it's a presidential campaign issue. Let's listen to a fascinating article about how, we think of like the Boulders in New York City as just being the places where average working people are priced out. It's like everywhere now. It's really spread. They quoted a stat that there are 241 cities in this country where the starting price for a starter home is like $1 million, and that's incredible. And this article focused on Kalamazoo, Michigan, a city 10 years ago where people were trying to fill up abandoned houses, and now rents are going up 120%, and people are spreading out a little bit to looking for an affordable place to live, and that's affecting housing prices in other markets. And so we're not alone in this situation. A lot of it seems to be about supply shortage, but there's because housing starts are way down since the Great Recession. We haven't been producing as much housing, and the population continues to grow, but there's other factors. I actually think that it's great that Boulder has gotten a jump on this issue, even though we struggle to keep up with it, with land values and home values being so high, because other places are dealing with this for the first time ever. So I'm hoping that what we're doing here has some effect locally, and maybe provide some good examples for other parts of the country that are really going to be in the same boat for their, the place that they're at, whether that's Michigan or California or Colorado or Washington State or New York. Anyway, I encourage you to read up on that. It's certainly been in the news a lot. Both presidential candidates have pretty ambitious housing programs that are worth reading, and It's not an easy fix for anybody at this point.
So I listened to part of that,
Yeah,
and one of the
the counter.
things, one of the things that they said is that market forces are having a really hard time providing entry-level housing because costs keep going up, and so the way that the for-profit developers keep profitable is to make bigger homes at higher prices. So that's not satisfying the entry level or the lower income. And so this article basically said that it's going to require some sort of public sector subsidy. And they indicated that public sector subsidies is not a new thing, and that actually the government or the public sector has been subsidizing housing all along, like mortgage tax deduction and real estate tax deduction are all forms of subsidies that are subsidizing people who are already wealthy enough to have a home. And they talked a bit about when what was it? The GI Bill also provided a lot of housing, but there was redlining. And so again, that subsidy only went to certain types of people or certain incomes. So if you hear people say, I don't need a subsidy, subsidies aren't fair, people should be able to do it on their own, there needs to be this recognition that subsidies are in place. They're just targeting people who tend to already have money. So.
The subject of subsidies, that same article cited Kalamazoo, providing subsidies to people who are middle income and upper middle income up to 120,000 a year, which is probably like a really good salary in Kalamazoo, Michigan. You're hearing more about, I think, you see that in places in Colorado too, where upper middle income people are subsidized because otherwise you won't have any doctors in your community or whatever it might be.
Well, I think that's interesting because my understanding is like the biggest housing construction boom in American history was right after World War II.
That's right.
And it was funded by the GI Bill. We had all these people who fought in the war, although only certain soldiers benefited from that, to your point on the redlining. And that was government subsidized housing construction. And I guess that was politically palatable at the time because it was going to veterans or people who just fought in a war. But the end result is those houses are still here and people are buying them. And, 80 years later, 70 years later, wherever we're at, there's still housing that was created as a result of that. So, I think you make a good point there on subsidies. It's something we still benefit from. And a lot of those homes were kind of small starter type homes that are still small, that are the cheapest houses you can buy in Denver now, even though they're not cheap, but they're cheaper. So, I think there's a lot of truth to that point. I've heard something interesting. I'm not gonna get in the weeds on, but I've heard from both sides, interesting in this national political election we're facing, interesting discussion on how immigration correlates with housing. I've heard from the right, specifically the vice presidential candidate, that the influx of immigrants into the United States is consuming affordable housing, and that non-immigrants, people who are already here, have to compete with immigrants for low-income housing. And then I've heard on the left that stopping immigration will result in a dearth of labor force to build housing. I think just two arguments that are interesting and people don't always talk about in the context of the immigration debate.
Interesting. You're right about that point about housing starts. It's quoted in the article that they went from 100,000 to like 1.7 million a year in 2 years or something. It's really remarkable. Okay, before we get into the matters on the board, I want to grab a cookie. Anybody else want to?
Yeah, choking on my house. Change the conversation in my mouth. Use from the Crohn's.
Okay, matters to the board. We had a great panel here. Solutions for homeless at the August meeting, and we learned a lot, had a great conversation, but now we've got a month to think about it. In addition, some of us toured a new project called Bluebird that was discussed at that panel a few weeks ago. It was really interesting. It's a 40 units permanently supportive housing for formerly homeless people, built by a private developer with lots of partnerships, including the city, Boulder Housing Partners. And Karen's all about this as well.
I think Boulder Housing Partners is involved with it.
There's something with them,
They're a limited partner.
they're a limited partner, and that allows.
Or maybe the tax
It is
exemption.
tax exemption, right. They didn't earn involved in development, but like stacks of finance and all kinds of crazy legal maneuvers. But the upshot is this is a very, very nice building. That we come across as institutional, actually very warm, part of the whole strategy of trauma-informed design that's supposed to help people who have experienced trauma relax and heal from that experience. And the apartments are small. They're really not much bigger, bigger at all than a tiny home. But as Chip pointed out, you couldn't put 40 tiny homes on a site of that size. You really have to do a stacked apartment style project. We heard from the developer, and we didn't actually meet any tenants, but we toured an apartment. So anyway, it was great to get boots on the ground to see a project that we had discussed at that meeting.
And so that's 40 fewer people that are living, who are sleeping at the shelter or in encampments or, you know, under bridges and stuff. And
Well, and interesting enough, if you have an apartment facing west, you were looking out at one of the significant encampment sites in our city along Goose Creek. So people could actually be looking out. It's one place where they used to huddle freezing to death in the middle of winter. The comfort of an apartment.
What stood out to me though was the developer told us that in the same footprint, they built a project in Longmont. And in that project, they built 60 units.
That's right.
And I guess the reason is because the city of Boulder has human right rule or something like that. What was it? Minimum size requirements for
Open space requirements
for
for that zone, so it limits the number. You have to provide a certain amount of open space. So it's the lot size determines how many units you can have.
But then there's smaller units on the free market going up. There was some discussion. I thought you said there's a minimum square footage for affordable housing.
We have livability standards.
Yeah,
If you're gonna
livability
build, if you're gonna satisfy your inclusionary housing requirement. And you're building market rate units and affordable units, we want them to be comparable. So you can't go build luxury units, market rate, and then say your affordable units are this efficiency over here.
Because I think these are single occupancy rooms were like 350 square feet and the bathroom's huge, was 3 times the size of my bathroom. Mhm. I mean, they were small, but I've lived in much smaller, I can tell you. You know, having been a student and things like that.
Did anyone find out why they used so much square footage on the bathroom?
I think part of it is that these standards that the city of Boulder has.
It's basically zoning, so think of it as zoning.
Yeah.
Zoning limits how many units you can have on a parcel.
And Longmont does 60 and we do 40, and I just think that's okay, 40 nicer, bigger units, and then 20 people get to sleep on the street. And I think if we're building housing for homeless people, we can downsize the space so that we can get more people in there. Because the goal is to put roofs over people's heads.
Yeah, or build a bigger building. I mean, I think the height comes in, when it comes into play.
Yeah, I mean, I just spent a week in a hotel room that was like less than 200 square feet and it was comfortable, you know, like, you know, and if this is all free housing and the goal is to get people off the street. So, you know, the bigger the space for one person, I'm not saying that we stick everyone in a 4 foot by 4 foot closet, but I definitely felt like there was, you could have made that unit smaller and it would still be comfortable.
So one of the housing options historically has been single room occupancy where there might be a small room with a bathroom at the end of the hall, and they tended to be not very expensive, and it helped create affordability. But I don't think they're allowed in Boulder. Are they allowed anywhere? Like, I don't know what law or rule, but I think that a single room occupancy concept would create smaller units that are more affordable.
Well, I think you could even make this smaller with a private bathroom each. I mean, this is a big bathroom, like bathrooms don't need to be that big.
So do
It
you,
was ADA
Is
compliant.
it for ADA compliance? Maybe that's why, but does every unit have to be ADA compliant? I don't know.
We might have just seen one that had.
Well, I.
so wait, do you know whether do you know what the laws are that prevent single room occupancy sized or arrangements?
So, I mean, basically, I would say SROs have been rebranded as micro units because SROs were always considered sort of blight and, needed to be removed. So, and there have been some interest in micro units in Boulder where, they just typically have your own bathroom, but it's a much smaller space, but you have other shared amenities like a rooftop area. So they're popular in West Coast cities.
Yeah.
They haven't been built here. And the closest we've gotten to is 22nd and Pearl. And I don't know if you've been watching the media, but everybody's complaining about that, saying, why is it?
Well, are they complaining because the room size or because they don't like the people who live there? Because it's like, because I
Still
don't,
not
you can give these homeless people big rooms, people still aren't gonna like it.
It's a high-end.
Okay.
Super, very expensive.
And that's,
Because-
they're saying it's too small, too many people.
It's too small and too expensive, yes.
What is the size of those apartments?
I don't know off the top of my head. They're actually not they're not that small. But they're very automated. It's kind of cool. I mean, like the table comes down from the ceiling type thing.
And like, these are expensive endeavors and they get Section 8 housing vouchers. I mean, the government's paying top dollar to house homeless people. And I'm like, why don't we have more in here? Like, this is very comfortable. When I came to Colorado for AmeriCorps, I was in a tiny room. It was like twin bed and then 3 feet, like walkway next to the bed, and then a desk area in the back, and then a bathroom down the hall. And this room we toured is probably 3 times the size of that, and the goal, I'm not saying, oh, let's give bad living conditions to homeless people. Let's put roofs over people's heads because that's an extra 20 people who are sleeping on the street that in Longmont may house.
So one of the topics that we've been contemplating for a future HAB meeting is adaptive reuse of office into residential and looking at the housing to be not necessarily conventional market rate apartments, but alternative living arrangements that might allow for like a more of a dorm situation or more of like group housing or something like that. And so, I'd like for us to explore different models of housing that might be more transitional, because one of the challenges of taking people from homelessness into an apartment where they need to abide by a lease and follow different rules is that it takes some training, it takes some adjustment, and it may be that that some of those people who've been experiencing homelessness might benefit from sort of an interim transitional situation where that will help them learn how to live inside again, and what are the expectations, and how do you follow a lease, and how do you abide by various rules. So I'd like
And
to
I-
explore that going forward.
I think
at a
that's
future
great.
meeting.
Transitional housing, we heard from that one
Boulder Bridge House.
Boulder Bridge House with the office space, and
Yeah.
I was like, this is excellent. Because I do think, you know, the goal of our welfare system shouldn't just be to house people, but also to give them the tools so that they can succeed on their own eventually, if that's possible. And I think transitional housing, with the model they had, just sounded like, I'm like, this is how government should be running things.
Yeah, I found that the most interesting out of everything on that panel, just because, I feel like we've had the conversation so many times of like, why can't we convert office spaces into housing stuff? I know you've always been really adamant on that, and we've kind of just come to the conclusion 100 times that we can, but then they told us that they did and that it's very successful. And that the NIMBYs in the neighborhood don't even know that it's there. So I agree, I think that should be explored more. They have a great model, so if they could expand and do that in more places, that would be awesome. Otherwise, I don't know, other organizations.
Well, I think the work piece too, that's
Yeah.
part of it, giving people skills, you know, like a lot of homeless people aren't in a position to go get a job, full-time job tomorrow.
Mhm.
So I think that transitional piece of essentially getting them a job that transitions them, hopefully in the end, they can go get a job and a place to live, you know, like I think it just sounds like such a great model to me.
It is a good
Well, again, we
model.
heard about a range of solutions. Permanently supported housing is a place you can live forever. And you don't need to have job skills, or you could have issues with substance abuse. With Bridge House, you have to be clean and sober and able to work. So it's somewhat limiting, but it does help people who are on the street get off the street, which is a great thing. And it's also not permanent. It's a 2-year sort of dormitory solution. You should go look at that building sometime.
I know, it's in
right near
there by the
IGD
Table
parking lot.
Mesa.
Yeah, it's across the
Shopping
street from the
center.
parking lot.
I see those guys at the laundromat all the time, and there's like a dude who runs it that comes in and kind of shows them what to do or tells them what to do, and they're getting their stuff done.
It's over by the PDQ.
No, it's
No.
by,
It's closer to the
it's
parking
like by
lot.
the Whole Foods.
You know where it's at the corner of,
Near the
I
post
think
office.
Moorhead and the post office, yeah. And you know, the thing is, it's not a very.
Oh,
good
is it over there?
building, which
I've
is-
only seen them like at the laundromat.
Well, and I think it's
but-
more politically palatable, you know, if people are hearing, oh, you're gonna turn this office next to my office into a place where people can live forever for free and use drugs, the community's gonna be upset about that. But if people hear, oh, they need to be clean, they need to do this work program, it's transitional, maybe they're more accepting of it. So,
I think it's important to recognize that people experiencing homelessness are very varied, right?
Sure.
And there are some people who have mental health issues or disabilities, and they may never get a job. And so the Bluebird facility ensures that they can be safe and secure and taken care of, and they may never get a job, but they're not allowed to do they're prohibited from doing drugs. They're just not necessarily drug tested, right? So like go out if you're gonna do something. The people who the Bridge House focus on are people who have the capabilities to be trained and are willing to commit to being sober and following their program. So they have a different, they're a different subset that has greater capabilities, but those two models don't necessarily work for the different population. And so I just feel like there needs to be a large
multiple.
array of solutions to match what the needs and capabilities are of individuals.
That makes sense.
And,
I really-
you know, another, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, I really appreciate that point because, oh, shoot, what was I gonna say? Well, you know, Chip, you were complaining about the fact that it could have been 60 units, you know, or, you know, maybe someone else would say 62 would be a better number, you know? But when you're targeting different people with different needs, and one of the things that you brought up is that the building was informed by trauma-informed design, you know, and so maybe that, I mean, like my first reaction to like a new building that has all these different partners and they did a lot of work together, that someone sat and thought about, well, what should the unit sizes be and what are our constraints and, how can we fit the needs of the people we're trying to serve. And so I would think that trauma-informed design might have something to say about how big or small the units might be and, that they sat and thought about that carefully. And so I'm not inclined to like say, oh, every project it ought to be just about the numbers, because like 60 seems like an awfully small number when you could have 80. And so I don't know. It's
You have to draw a line somewhere, but it seemed pretty cushy to me, and I'm just saying, like, there's 20 people who are experiencing lots of trauma sleeping outside in
there's
winter.
40 people.
Yeah. Right, well, and eventually you do have to draw a
80's
line,
the-
but I don't know, just based on my worldly experience, these are I felt like pretty large units.
That might be just what some people need.
That's my perspective.
So just to kind of round out and review, we heard about the permanently affordable housing developed by a private developer who did it because they could make money doing it. That's what private developers do. I thought that was kind of cool. Now, according to Catherine Bean, they're mission driven and they're not out to make a like 25% return on investment, but they're making money on it, which is great. It means that other people might want to come and join them and build the same types of projects. We had the BHP talking about building the other permanent affordable housing project on Lee Hill and also the voucher system. That was Laura. And then I found EFA to be really interesting because I've done volunteer work for EFA in their kitchen. I didn't know they were so involved in housing. And a lot of their emphasis is on preventing people from becoming homeless. So they try to intervene when they hear of a client who has had a life change, like partner is sick and can't work, it's become a one-income family instead of the divorce. And they do have some housing, they own some properties that they provide some housing. So that was really interesting. Then we heard from Michael Block about what the formerly the Shelter Now All Roads is doing to provide support for the homeless population in general. I think it was Philip who said, well, this is a money problem, we just need more money so more people can do more of this. And I think Michael Block agreed with that, but guess we might ask ourselves, where do we as a board go with that? Is there some recommendation we might be working on with the council and city leaders, figure this out and expand programs that we've now seen and observed and heard are effective, but for a very limited portion of the unhoused population. And I'm not saying we can invent that now, but that's what we need to be working toward.
I like Karen's idea of studying transitional housing more in commercial spaces, because I think we have some commercial space in Boulder that could be used for that.
That is possibly going to be another panel next
Yeah.
up.
I think that's
some leads on that.
because I think that's something that Boulder can actually do more of, building new housing is trickier than all the empty office space. that's
Buying
in
an empty
Boulder.
building is much easier than building a new building.
Yeah,
I have a question. Is there an ability to do a pilot? Right? Like if, let's say, there's a for-profit developer who has an empty building. Could the city enable them to try some sort of transitional housing within that building? Even if there isn't precedent, like, would you have to go through all the zoning changes in the?
Bridge House is a former office building that was converted.
I mean, I think
TSA, the Penrose that
Yeah.
BHP is doing, it's a former office building getting converted to
is
residential. It's not, I don't think it's necessarily a regulatory hurdle. I think it's more of a financial
Okay.
hurdle.
Okay.
So
like, is
but-
BHP in a position to do what Bridge House does to manage a transitional housing type program? I don't think so, right?
No. They're
So we
not interested.
need to kind of find a way to make it attractive for other nonprofits or Bridge House.
Or for profits, like.
Yeah, or,
Well, it seems to me there's a couple different issues. One is, how do you convert the building to a different use? So you might have a property owner who's a developer. And then you might have an operator who specializes in a certain type of population, like dealing with, you know, drug addiction or mental health. Like, I'm just pretending, like, let's say there's a floor where there's somebody rents the space to focus on people who are going through, you know, sobering up. And then there might be another floor of people who, you know, who had domestic violence and need a place to live. And then there might be another floor where there's people who are suffering from mental health, and the group community is really helpful. So it could be like there's a developer who owns a building who leases the units to a nonprofit that specializes in a certain kind of population. But I don't know, I'm just throwing out ideas. But if you have a for-profit developer who owns an office building, they probably don't know how to provide permanent supportive housing to people who are previously homeless.
right. And also, if they're using it mostly as an office building, like there's other tenants, commercial tenants in it, they don't want that.
Yeah, but there are empty.
But there are empty office buildings and they're just burning cash on it. And, you know, how do we, I think you need to find a nonprofit to run these programs. There's no money in that.
Right, well, we have one, Bridge House.
Yeah, Bridge House. So how do we get more
Or
bridge?
mental health partners,
Yeah.
or,
But I can also tell you, you know, our department, Housing and Human Services, spent over a year trying to find a location for the day services center. Remember that? We looked at office buildings all over the city, and it was incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
First, you have to find an owner that's willing to sell to you or lease to you, knowing what your intentions are.
Well, and that's one thing the city could do, is create a tax incentive for that. Right?
Our taxes aren't that significant.
Is it,
Because
commercial-
commercial school district, the county, everything else.
well, yeah, I mean, how much on a commercial property, do we know how much the city taxes? Maybe that's someone we want to hear from on this panel, is the tax man in Boulder. Get a sense of how we can leverage tax policy. I don't know. I don't know what the city taxes, but the city certainly collects tax revenue from commercial building owners, right?
Does the city or the county set the commercial property tax rate? Does the city?
The county collects it,
Yeah,
but you know, I mean, any change to your taxes has to be voter approved.
Does a reduction under Tabor have to be? Taxes shall not be raised without the approval of the voter, but if, you know, we wanted to give a tax credit of sorts or something, I mean, I think there's definitely someone in the city of Boulder who can speak to this. And that's one nugget the city has to incentivize landowners to use their property a certain way. That seems like a good tax policy. I mean, the feds give low-income housing tax credits to people who build these low-income housing. That's how we build low-income housing in America. So I don't know, like you're saying, obviously the city can't waive state tax, but I'd like to know how much commercial landlords, commercial property owners are paying in tax. Because that could be enough of an incentive, especially if you own an empty building and you're losing money on this empty building because you have to pay all these taxes and utilities and insurance. And then the city comes by and says, hey, we will slash your tax bill if you lease out to this nonprofit. And the nonprofit's going to pay you a little bit of money too. And you might be sitting there and be like, yeah, you know, this is my real estate portfolio. That sounds quite attractive.
so because the for-profit developer at Bluebird did a joint venture with Boulder Housing Partners, they got tax exemption.
Right.
So you're right, there is like an expense line item that gets eliminated if
and that's property.
if like BHP is involved. So that may be something that we explore when we talk about the adaptive reuse of housing, of office for housing with certain populations is what's the opportunity to get property tax exemption?
One of the things the city has been working on, started last year, maybe the year before, is changing the zoning regulations to allow more residential in more areas. So for example, in industrial areas or an area, or an office area, in zoning areas that had historically not allowed residential. So that is new. And we have not seen, at least not coming through planning board, projects like a big R&D project or something that's gonna include housing. But that's the goal, is to allow residential in projects that, so some of those office buildings would have been on zoning that might have historically not encouraged residential. That has shifted. So we've got a momentum going on in the city to kind of expand the opportunities to find housing. So I think it could be very timely to come forth with a model for converting, Jay's not there, but the idea of, it's been done, a couple of times. Can this be scaled up in some manner? And what would be the mechanisms to do that? I think this is it's a timely discussion, just given what we're doing with our zoning.
And maybe I think those are good points. Zoning's part of it, but I think tax is also the other angle, and the county collects the tax, but I'm pretty sure the city sets its own tax rates for its property. There's also county tax rates, state tax, but maybe, I think we probably want to hear from the county treasurer to give us a sense of tax rates.
Well, we hope to have a panel on this conversion discussion next month. And potentially you'd have a developer who wants to convert an office building, who's very familiar with commercial fees and taxes and building. That person could probably say, this is my tax liability on this property.
But like, we are the government technically, right?
Right.
Someone in the government should be able to tell us what the various tax rates
I
are.
don't know, would that be the county treasurer?
They collect, so they must know, but the city sets its own tax rates, right?
Don't set our own tax rates, but yes, we collect. It comes to us.
Well, the city through policy, I imagine every city has different tax rates.
Well, if you look at your tax,
You can look at your tax bill.
right, it has.
I don't know
everything
on
identified.
properties.
That's right.
I don't know real
I think
estate.
you can go online at the Boulder County and see what it's a very, very long list, and we've always, as Michael said, voted ourselves into this list. Everything on that list, voters have said, yes, we will tax ourselves for this, that, and the other. And it's a big list.
That's the thing, I mean, certain things are voter approved for a specific purpose, and it's not something you can just say, we're gonna waive. So. We're still debriefing from the panel discussion?
As Michael wanders off.
I think so.
I don't know.
And I want to
Yes.
hear more about the tax policy is complicated, and I think that is a tool that the city does have to encourage certain types of land use.
Our main tool is funding. We use funding to get people to do what we want.
That's from the city budget.
I'm sorry?
That's from the city budget.
It's from the Affordable Housing Fund. So all the money that we collect through cash in lieu, through our linkage fees. There's a property tax that's specific for housing.
What is that bucket of money? Has it been collected and then sort of allocated already, or is there additional funding that is anticipated and not yet allocated?
It gets allocated every year.
Yeah.
It doesn't sit in a pot somewhere. There is more funding coming, so hopefully from 1B that was just passed last election cycle. But we don't know how that's going to be allocated by the county yet. And then it's just highly variable. So depending on the amount of development in a given year, right? Determines how much cash in there. So we could get as much as 20 million in a year or as little as 1 or 2. So Michael, where are we on the agenda?
I'm about to wrap up item A under matters from the board. Unless anyone has any other comments on it, but I would like to say we need ideas of how to move forward. Now that we've learned so much about this issue, what are we going to do with that knowledge? You know, we've heard from the experts, we've visited the projects. We've seen some really great examples of ways to house the unhoused in humane and productive ways. But what do we do with that information? I don't know the answer. Do we need to have a dedicated session on that in a future meeting? Everyone to bring ideas, brainstorm or fit more now or something else?
Well, my proposal is I'd like to explore adaptive reuse for housing. Because it seems like BHP has a very big pipeline and Bridge House continues to operate and do well. And the shelter has been housing about 100 people a year. And so each of those organizations seems to have a model that's working, that could get ramped up, but is working. So I'd like to explore something that really hasn't happened, which is more adaptive reuse and potentially for sort of transitional housing.
Great.
I like that idea too, and I'd like, if we're doing a panel of sorts, I think it would be good to try to find someone from the tax division in the city of Boulder's finance department. Just so I think it would help us to understand where money works. They manage the accounts receivable in the city and revenue sources, and I think they can speak in more detail and educate us. Because everything we want to do requires money. And I think having a better sense of what that money is and kind of either you're giving someone money or you're giving them a discount. Those are kind of the two things government can do. So what tools do we have to encourage the goal of building transitional housing?
Okay, well, this might we have the bare bones of a panel, so we'll need some more ideas on to invite maybe at least one more person, perhaps two, but we'd have someone from Bridge House back more on the technical side to discuss their office conversion, the one you referenced, Julianne. Really the brass tacks, like how did we do this? What did it cost? What were the zoning challenges? I don't think Melissa is necessarily the one to answer all that. You get somebody like a project manager, I'm guessing. And then the other person we have in mind, I spoke with the other day, was looking at 2 office conversions, and they would not be for transitional or even affordable housing, but this person could get to the issue of what does it take to do this? What are the zoning challenges? What are the issues around parking and open space requirements? I mean, just real nitty gritty things that sometimes Boulder gets hung up on that prevent us from reaching certain goals. So I don't know who the third person would be, but open to suggestions on that.
Well, I've heard, I don't know what truth there is to this, but I've heard that municipalities in Colorado like commercial real estate because they make more in taxes off of it than residential. And it bumps up their coffers. It's obviously nuanced stuff. I don't know if that's true. I'd just like to hear from someone who can speak to it with credibility, who works with it.
But I can tell you, if you owned a home and it became an office building, you'd pay a lot more property tax for it, so there might be some truth to that.
Yeah.
And
Well, then
the other side, commercial
what
sales
can
tax, of
the
course.
city council do, because that's who we're tasked with advising, to modify the incentives? And obviously that plays into the budget. The city needs its budget, but I just think someone who can speak to that. I know it's pretty nitty gritty stuff, but
Yeah,
the power to tax is the most powerful government power like that a municipal government has, in my opinion, so.
Jay, are there any group homes in Boulder? And are any of them successful models that could be replicated if they had a floor or a building to work from?
Or buildings. Oh, you mean if there was a space?
Yeah, yeah. Like, do you think that might be, so like we could look at it from the perspective of who's done this adaptive reuse and what is the build, what do you have to do to the building to make it habitable? But I wonder if then maybe another person on the panel is somebody who might operate from within that space, and what is their population like, and what kinds of configurations make that space work for that population?
I think that's gonna be challenging based on your previous speech about how different the needs are across the board.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, most of the group homes are in residential areas, in residential homes. They're basically just converted for that purpose. And most people don't even know they exist in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Those to me are the more successful ones. The larger ones, you're talking about, the Bridge House. You know, I think that I would say focus on that. But the other, you know, I've thrown out Boulder Housing Partners. They just went through the process of converting a office building to residential. And they have perfect experience.
The Geological Society.
So let's, whoever was tasked with that, why don't we have them talk?
Well, also, folks at Coburn worked on that.
I think Coburn was also hired by a private developer who had a large portfolio, and they analyzed the portfolio to figure out which ones might be suitable. So I think someone from Coburn might make a lot of
That would
sense.
be,
Bill Holicky, yeah. or
I just think
John
it's such a
Coburn.
smart idea. I used to work in this 30-story office tower in Denver, and like 15 of the floors are just empty. And then you walk outside, there's tents. And I just was like, this makes no sense to me, like this world. And I think to the extent Boulder wants to be innovative and a leader, that's actually something where we can lead on. You know, everyone wants more money to build stuff, but there's a lot of constraints. And obviously we don't have a bunch of empty land in Boulder where you can build, but we do have empty offices.
I think we've got our panel idea with some good case studies. That would be Bridge House.
I feel compelled to say that we also have tens of thousands of empty bedrooms. And I say that frequently, but it's another source of housing that goes underutilized.
Well, in Boulder, like what's the solution there?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not the landlord, like landlords who own like, it's a commercial residential property, they want to lease their stuff out. That's how they make money, like who are these empty bedrooms?
Yeah. Personal experience, I'm never shy about that. When we became empty nesters, we decided to take in boarders, and it sucked.
No, I
So
know,
we
it's not an easy. it's
So
not an
there's
easy
a happy
problem to
ending.
solve.
There's a happy ending. We converted the same space to an ADU with its own entrance in 7 years. We've loved our tenants. It's great. So
Healthy boundaries.
I don't think there's that many people that would be eager to take on boarders unless they really had to for financial reasons. But more ADUs, more splitting of large houses into smaller units, which is all things have been discussed. They're in progress, basically.
Or I heard like for this presidential campaign from the Democrats, they're like, you get $25,000 for a first-time home buyer.
Right.
Create a financial incentive for empty nesters, people like my parents, to move out of their house into a condo, which my parents recently did. Like, how do you do that?
Moving into their house.
No, I'm not, but a young family did move into their house,
Well,
you
that-
know, and
that creates a different problem, because there's a shortage of condos in
Right, in
the
Colorado,
Denver metro
yeah.
area, so, you know,
How do
empty
you
nest.
downsize?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
we do that
limited
one
places
too.
for empty nesters.
And
to
maybe that's
downsize.
that's something, you know, we always talk about building low income housing, but like, how do we also free up single family homes? And I feel like there's people, you know, they have this house that has a lot of equity in it, or, you know, they've paid off their mortgage. And they want something nice, but smaller, and that doesn't necessarily
That's the
exist.
ADU market.
Yeah. I've looked at
That's
that.
another
It doesn't
ADU
exist.
market.
Yeah, but there's people, you
Build a
know,
backyard house.
my parents were not gonna move into a one bedroom type of housing I live in now. But freeing up that, and maybe that's a problem we have, is that we have the aging baby boomer population, they don't have anywhere to go, they want something nice and smaller, but it doesn't exist.
Okay, great. I think we've made some progress with that discussion, and I think I have a good idea. Karen, maybe that you and I can put our heads together again, to tease out this panel. I think we
Great.
can get together for October 30th. It'll be very enlightening and interesting. So with that, we will move on to Passover item B, because Danny Teodoro is not able to make it. Let's hope he can make this presentation at a future meeting. Item 3.
Can I just say one thing about that item, because I just wanted to
Sure.
lob a grenade over the fence. I think BBSD would be the perfect partner for employer-based housing. They have so much land, and they have declining enrollment. Maybe they could repurpose some of the space that they own to build housing for their workforce. I know that the District Accountability Committee a couple years ago actually proposed this as a general subject of inquiry. And they presented it at one of the meetings, and it went nowhere.
The ACB or a school board meeting.
It was a DAC. And it went nowhere, but at least somebody like had the bravery or whatever, the courage to like bring it up and say it out loud. And I don't know, I think I would love to see BBSD contemplate this in a more serious way.
So when we talked, so before this meeting, Jay and I and Michael get together and we sort of plan what the future agendas are gonna be. And this, the agenda that we had thought about for employer housing, one of the speakers was gonna be Danny, because he works with like the fire department and the police department up in the mountains.
And some of the resort operators.
Right, and then we also talked about potentially the teachers, public schools. And Jay mentioned that, what was it, Twin Lakes was a development that the school board, the school
district.
owns, and there was a huge NIMBY and it didn't go anywhere. And so if we brought somebody, they would basically be talking about why it didn't work. And I think there's a lot of sore, like it'd be like rubbing salt in a wound, but I think it's worth talking about. And then potentially we bring in somebody from CU, because all
No
of
teachers in my backyard, that was their.
That's something we should hear, why
What
did it
happened?
work?
And,
Exactly what
and
happened.
then a potential
Simple.
a potential additional speaker might be someone from CU, because the redevelopment of the South Campus will also include housing for faculty and grad students and stuff. So any other ideas you have about employer housing will make a better panel. And I agree that the Boulder Valley School District might be a good candidate.
I mean, who are the biggest employers in Boulder after the city, you know? University, city, school district, who else?
The labs.
The labs. Their employees are pretty well paid. I mean, I'm sure there's low paid employees too, but.
Does the hospital provide any housing?
So the Alpine Balsam project, I mean, that's the city providing
For city.
Housing. And I don't know, do you know if there's gonna be a way to funnel it through city employees before it goes out into the bigger market? Is there gonna be any process?
The affordable housing or the market rate?
Any of it?
No. Not
So
necessarily.
there's no link back to providing for the workers that are gonna be working here.
Correct.
Because
But so there are
his,
fair housing issues that
I
you have
know,
to be
I know,
correct.
it just didn't sound right even saying this.
Which is why I had asked Danny, because what I'm trying to figure out is if you designate units and say, okay, this unit goes to this kind of person or this employee, then you're in violation of the Fair Housing Act. But that's why I really wanted Danny to come and figure out, well, how did the fire department and the police department get around those laws up in the mountains?
Telluride has lots of housing for people who work at the ski area.
I don't know, I'm not speaking with authority on this, but I don't know if discriminating based on income is a Fair Housing Act violation.
It wasn't the issue in my mind isn't income, it's that if, let's say Boulder says, we have a goal of our service providers living in our community. So we want to make sure that like, you know, within this development, there's 3 firefighter families and 3 policeman families and 3 nursing families and 3 teachers. How can you designate certain of your housing units to those employees to make sure that the people who provide services to our community live in the community? So we're not identifying people based on their income. We're saying we want these employee types. And that, my understanding, has been a violation of fair housing. And so what I wanted to know from Danny or anyone on our panel is, how do you get around that so that the greater good is that, yeah, our policemen live in Boulder, our firemen live in Boulder, our teachers live, or some of our firefighters, some of our teachers.
Well, I
some
think
of
if
our
it's
policemen.
owned by the fire department, then they can lease it to firefighters. They don't have to lease it to the
But
public.
they're not developers, so that's what I'm trying to figure out, like,
Right.
how do they get those units to then
I
give
think
to?
and Danny would speak this, I think they lease it and then they can sell it, you know, that sort of thing. Someone else builds it.
And this speaks to the Boulder Valley Comp Plan has a aspiration of a jobs housing balance. And that comes up so many times when we're looking at like the big life science projects that are bringing in 1,000, jobs and where are these people going to live. I think it would be very interesting to look at how the influx of development, and especially, and these are not low paying jobs, but they can't find places to live in Boulder, and so we have this big incommute. But it's an aspiration in our Boulder Valley Comp Plan to have there be a balance between the jobs and the housing. And I don't know that we have any data on, we approve all these office parks and labs and whatnot. And what's happening, what kind of a deficit are we getting on the housing side based on that new employees we're bringing in? So some of it is data, do we know? Do we know? Obviously, we know just by the commuting. But solutions to bring that to bear, which is why some of the zoning regulations have aimed at that, okay, you can build your life science building or put some housing in it. That nobody's taken up, because nobody's taken up that thing, but I think it's a concern, and it's been named in the Boulder Valley Comp Plan as, we want there to be a balance. We don't want this to be a community that has these huge numbers of people commuting in because there's no housing.
To that,
I'm gonna call the question on this part of the discussion, because I think we need more information before we even plan a panel or whatever on this topic. And that, I think we need Danny to advise us on that. Potential would be for Danny to talk about his experience in the mountains. I think the school district thing is a maybe. It's been a dead issue for a number of years. I think Jay has some inside knowledge on that, about that. Might be clearing scars from. But my understanding is that Twin Lakeside is not a live issue now, that it's voted down by, I believe, the county planning commission a couple of years ago. It has years ago, hasn't come back.
Different era.
And then as far as the university goes, yeah, they want to build housing at CU South, but I mean, they don't even have like a bubble diagram of what that development might look like. So it's really, really early. What that.
Although they are doing the cinema, redevelopment of the Cinemax, right?
Oh, that's-
Cinemark?
That's true.
The movie theater
Yeah,
here?
I heard about that. That's
No,
really
it's the-
interesting.
Cinnabar.
Cinnabar, yeah.
Yeah.
It's called.
In Louisville?
In Louisville.
Oh, it's weird.
Is that the university that bought, who bought it?
Yeah.
I think it's a university.
That's all I heard. That's all I had. I don't know anything more
Well,
about it.
I think it's worth exploring a panel.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That
Yeah.
actually is very interesting. I went to the movie there this year. It was terrifying. 'Cause I'm the only one there.
That will not be part of our panel
Anyway,
discussion.
let's focus on this adaptive use idea in October, if we can make that happen. And the next thing we have to talk about is item C, I believe, which is can we add in person to currently virtual only meetings for public participation? At the last meeting, Jim brought a motion on this that we tabled, because we hadn't really enough time to talk about it. But Jay and staff have done some research and maybe have some productive answers. You want to review what you found, Jay?
Sure, yeah, Tiffany and I did some sleuthing. Wasn't easy, but the good news is, we could start having in-person participants at the next meeting
Here,
here in this room. So that's, so yeah, assuming the board is amenable to that, we would recommend that you move in that direction. The question is, space is a little bit limited. We typically don't get a lot of people. Even pre-pandemic, when we were in council chambers, like rarely more than, 1 or 2 or 3 people. So the next sort of question is, do we want to stay here or do we want to move closer to downtown? That has some challenges. Moving back into council chambers, there's still the security issue. There's basically us, we would be the only ones in the building. And I don't know, is anyone here? No one has been in council chambers before, right?
I have.
Not,
But they're as a HAB member?
no,
No. So basically, we would be the only ones in the building after hours. So we're responsible for making sure it's locked up and secure, and also not everybody felt very safe leaving the building late at night. So it has its challenges. But we also have the option of staying here. But we're still limited in terms of the number of facilities that can support the Zoom. So there's this room, council chambers, and another building just below council chambers. That's basically it. Because I assume we want to still keep the Zoom.
let's say we tried it here, which I think would be a great first step, and 4 people showed up. Where would they sit?
We just bring chairs and put them against the back wall behind you.
Behind me?
Yeah, we can move these tables up. We could square this off. We have room.
They get to stay for the whole meeting.
They would stay for the whole meeting.
That wall moves.
And the wall moves too. That's another option.
Wow. And then folks would still have the option of the screen. Okay, so it's a hybrid meeting. Did they get to eat a cookie? No.
Well, that's the nice thing about council chamber is the food is in the back room. And the board got to eat in private before the meeting and then you would come out.
Instead of bringing food, okay.
So we could do the same thing over there. We would basically just close those doors. You guys would come early. We would eat on that side and then once it became 6 o'clock, you would come over.
So can I speak to something I recently experienced? I observed a Board of Trustees meeting in Lyons. Obviously much smaller community than here. And there's some housing issues going on there apparently from this meeting. And people from this complex came and spoke to the Board of Trustees about their problems. And I thought it was really interesting, the dialogue. It seems like very productive. The public had an issue. The Board of Trustees was responding to it. And I thought one thing really interesting happened. They had the Zoom set up. People could watch via Zoom. And someone on Zoom like raised their hand to participate in public comment. And the mayor said, oh, we don't take public comment via Zoom anymore. You have to come in person. You can watch on Zoom. I'm not proposing we do that, but I never got an explanation as to why that is. And then at one point, someone got up to address, and again, this is the Board of Trustees, so it's not just housing, but someone got up to address the Board of Trustees, and he started off by saying, I want to apologize for the way I acted at the last Board of Trustees meeting during the public comment period. And I wasn't there. I don't know what he's talking about, but we've been in this like Zoom world for years now. And I was like, yeah, when you come and you scream at people in person to their faces, you're gonna feel bad because like there's a certain level of civility as humans we have in person that's just a lot harder to overcome than when you're just sitting and we can't even see your face. You can scream at us all you want, like that anonymity that people have through the internet. And I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if that's why they don't allow public comment through Zoom. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I think getting people to come and participate in person could lead to much more productive public comment. And part of it is like, what do we envision the role of this board? I'm obviously newer here than everyone else, but I do think, in a city of Boulder with 100,000 people and obvious serious housing problems, people aren't always going to go to city council with their issues. It would be nice to hear from tenants, homeless people, whomever about their housing issues. And maybe we can tie that all together with the experts and the panels we hear from and provide more sound advice to the city council. So I really think it's important to encourage that. To Jay's point, I'm very grateful that you guys looked into this. I do think that being downtown would be more conducive to a public conversation. I don't know how much people we're going to get here. I don't know how much people we're going to get down there. I think it's probably more likely we get people down there in terms of walkability. I never knew this place even existed before I came here. But the security issue is a concern.
What's the other downtown location if it isn't city council chambers?
It's a
Just
Same
below it.
location.
It's the same building, first floor.
The only issue is that there's another board that currently meets in that room.
I'm sorry, which room was that?
Wednesdays, so I'd have.
So it would also require us changing dates.
Okay.
I think my suggestion would be, let's try it here. Let's see how many people show up. If the number of people who show up is bigger than what this room can accommodate, then after a couple months, maybe we explore city council chamber. But I think there's pros and cons, like people may not know where here is, but I feel like it's pretty easy to get to. There's parking, there's places to. You
Sounds
can, yeah, so.
Are there other
Oh, go ahead,
boards
Karen.
that are doing a similar transition, and what are they, how's it going? I can speak for planning
Yeah.
board. We've been meeting live. I think in the spring. They had to make the transition with the technology as well. But truth be told, we don't get much public at all. What we get are the applicants. They tend to show up in person, but not always. I think the Zoom has really expanded people's abilities to attend, and that sort of comfort. I haven't seen them break out of it and start showing up at Planet, even for this, big alpine balsam. A lot of neighbors are going to be impacted. There was not a single person of the public. The applicants were there, but so we rarely see public showing up at the planning board meetings, at the council, and even on the Zoom calls, when we have a hot item, most of them are showing up on the Zoom calls.
Even when there's neighbors opposition to a project you're considering?
Like when we did the approval of the mod factory, you know, those neighbors were concerned about the wetlands and, you know, some of the environmental impacts. They all showed up online. You know, so I think Zoom has changed the culture.
Are there any other, so that's planning.
None that I know of.
The only thing I wonder is, Chip, I wonder if a part of your desire to offer it up to some live stuff is also just kind of a separate but similar thing of having more public participation.
Right.
And so I wonder if another option would be to continue on with our meetings like this, but plan a public participation roundtable discussion or something with the topic prompt of, hey, what do you think we should do about housing in Boulder, whatever, and just kind of open up the conversation and inviting public. And then it doesn't have to be one of the other.
Well, I think it speaks to engagement. I mean, maybe it's like, what demographic are we trying to reach? I think the demographic that interfaces with the planning board is applicants, and then all the property owners around the project that don't want it to happen, right? And those are probably people who are technologically sophisticated because they own property and they have money. And what demographic are we trying to engage? You know, like the alcohol control board, the demographic they engage with is probably mostly liquor stores. So like, what demographic are we trying to engage with? And I would like to advocate for engaging more with low-income people, tenants and homeless people. I think that's where there's a serious housing issue. I know there's a housing issue for home ownership too. But you know, planning board covers a lot of kind of those development issues in Boulder. You know, one area that the planning board doesn't go near is how do we address homelessness? I mean, maybe a little bit, but that's more, I think, in our wheelhouse. And how do we engage with those people? And to your point, that's it. It's not just how do we have in-person meetings, but how do we get people to attend our meetings, whether it's in person or Zoom? I think we need to do some legwork there.
So I have a question though. If the involvement of the people that you're targeting, they're given 3 minutes. Are you wanting them to tell us what their ideas are, what their concerns are? Or do you also want them to stay and listen to the conversations that we have? Like, I understand the goal of greater participation, but it's hard to have your voice be heard in 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if I have a specific answer there. I mean, part of that speaks to just our procedure.
So,
But our public comment since I've been here has been very minimal. I don't think we've gotten much out of it. I mean, Mark made some good, interesting points today. I'd like to hear more of that sort of thing, or just people's concerns and how can we act on it.
Mhm.
And I don't think people know about us.
well,
Circling back to
before I
the,
joined the board in May of 2021, there were occasional, they call them listening sessions,
Mhm.
which were more like a public hearing of the type you're describing, that was very interactive. And I think there was mixed results from that. I did attend one that I think 2 members of the public came to, but that was like high COVID, so there were only Zoom opportunities. But you feel any of those were productive, Jay? Or do you have any? Like, was there one that had 50 people in a room talking to Ab, or?
The tiny home one, I mean, so my sense is it's, as Emma was saying, it's driven by what is the agenda. If it's of interest to people,
Right.
they'll show up. If it's a sort of general, come tell us what you think,
But I thought that the listening sessions were targeted to an issue.
they are, exactly.
Like tiny homes on wheels. Evictions. You know, we've talked about it any number of times, we just haven't done it again.
Well, there needs to be a marketing component, I think, to let people know. I do think back to when I first joined, I did the diversity training through the city, racial equity.
Mhm.
And whoever put that training on, the city staff person, I forget her name. She's like in the Department of Engagement or something like that. Seems like her job is like they go into trailer parks and they like talk to people and try to get the city to engage with them. And she made a comment like, we can partner with your board to engage the community more. Maybe we reach out to one of those departments and say, hey, we're having a, you know, a listening session or just like a day on living conditions in mobile home parks. Is that something you can get people to attend on? We want to listen and communicate people's concerns to city council. I don't know. I mean, that's just an idea I have. It sounds like there's people in the government whose job it is literally to market government services to disenfranchised communities. And perhaps we can work with them.
We need to have an interpreter if we do something like that.
I mean, if they're Spanish speakers,
They
that would
do
be
it in
great.
Denver all the time, but they have
Yeah,
a lot of.
I don't think we have the demand for it right now, but obviously if we did.
We have a pretty high Spanish speaking population.
No, I mean, in terms of our public.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't think we.
Well, we've done this before, but why don't we put listening sessions on the agenda in October and have people bring concrete ideas? If we want to do one, we'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's up to you guys, but I think if we are doing a listening session, we're marketing it maybe a bigger space to be prepared for would be better. If we're just doing a panel and we don't expect large turnout, maybe here's better, you know, that's.
If we could ever do e-town hall.
You have to pay for it.
If security is a concern, I mean, that's something we obviously want to address. Can someone from the police department hang out?
They'll do it for a fee as well.
But the city pays that already.
Budget.
But I mean, yeah, so I would say we can find a larger venue if you have a topic for a listening session that you think will generate a lot of interest.
Let's see if we're bursting at the seams in October and go from there.
Well, I think it should be two-pronged is facility, but also outreach. I think we need to, I don't think people are gonna show up unless we get the word out that we're actually soliciting. If the plan for October is a listening, or not a listening session, but a panel, then maybe that's not the best day for it, or maybe it is.
Gotta start somewhere, but who, would that be Sarah Huntley's job? The communications person at the city,
Get to
to
publicize?
publicize our meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask them to use the city's social media to promote an event. All of our meetings are publicly noticed. They go on the Daily Camera, they go on all of our social media. So, I mean, we have usual forums to get the word out.
I feel like the listening sessions that I have attended in the past, they were scheduled months out so that there was really good opportunity to get the word out.
You attended have listening sessions before you were on that?
Not have, this was before, well, actually, maybe it was like original have. Yeah, actually. And then, yes, that's true.
Yeah, that was-
And then also a couple of things with the Parks and Rec
Look for person.
portion, whatever that is. My point is that it seems like the schedule would be in October or November, talking about some specific ideas that could be topics for a listening session and then scheduling that after the first of the year.
Their names were Brenda Rittenor and Edgar. I don't know Edgar's last name. Neighborhood Engagement and Services Manager from the City of Boulder Communication and Engagement Department.
Yes.
Are those the type of people
Maybe
who
they'll come to me.
would promote, let people know, hey, we're doing a listening or a panel on transitional housing for homeless people, that's part of it. If you have something to say or thoughts on this, we'd love to hear it, and reach out to, everyone, it should be open to everyone, but how do we reach out to those communities that are most
I
affected?
guess I'm sort of wondering, like, if we have a topic that we're exploring and we promote it, then they get 3 minutes to sort of introduce themselves, and then they listen to our panel, but it's not interactive.
Mhm.
And so maybe a future meeting should be one where we're open to any topic and we're open to much more interaction. And then whoever shows up isn't limited to the 3 minutes. But it may be that if you're just inviting people to attend, they're participating before we've talked about it. And Mark was the first time I've ever seen us interact back and forth, and I thought that was great, but I sort of feel like that should be a whole meeting in and of itself, like, come to HAB, it's gonna be open dialogue, we're gonna have back and forth discussion, you get to present ideas that you want us to explore, or share some thoughts, and we'll listen, but I don't know that to me seems like a different format than what our normal meetings are, where somebody presents and then we move on and talk about something totally different.
Well, maybe we distinguish meetings that are more like study sessions where we're trying to learn, that's the main goal of the meeting, and then ones where we're trying to listen to the public. If we have a panel of 5, like the last homeless one we did, that was, I feel like, more of a study session. We were there to learn.
Right.
And it probably, if we had 20 people show up to talk about homelessness, we'd have enough time for that. Maybe we do a separate one on, all right, we're gonna do a community engagement on homelessness now. And the goal of that is to listen and engage with the public.
So can I make a suggestion? Because just an observation, I've noticed you guys have been spending a lot of time discussing different formats for outreach and how to format meetings. And I'm not sure it's very productive use of your time. But so I would encourage you to come up with a topic and think about that topic, and then based on that topic, decide exactly what kind of outreach you want to do.
Homelessness.
I thought we decided that wasn't what we wanted to focus on. Like, the panel we had was housing solutions for homelessness, right? Like, homelessness has so many factors that are not in our purview.
But that's fine, housing solution for homelessness, we're not public safety, we're not police oversight board. But homeless housing, it's a big thing, and I thought that last meeting was excellent. I'd like to engage the public more in that conversation.
What would they bring to it? I'm not saying that
I just feel like we're kind of isolated. We hear from developers, we hear from nonprofits, we don't hear from the community. We're here trying to help people, but we don't hear from them, and they don't know we exist.
So I have a question. How in fact, after however you get your information and gather the subject together, how is this information taken back to city council? In other words, I'm hearing you talk about, you want the public input, but is it going anywhere? And how does that happen? So articulating, and here's what we're planning to do as a result, could get people to say, oh, my voice will matter.
well, we haven't sent a motion or a resolution to council in a while. But last time we did, we weighed in on a whole host of pretty weighty issues, like zoning and ADUs, all that. And we spent some time doing analysis and sent them maybe a 3 or 4 page memo with some analysis suggestions, most of which they adopted. Not saying they took what we did and, rubber stamped it. There's stuff they were already working on, but they took it as a good sign of support.
Right. That could be a way for people to become invested in attending, in that their voice will then carry some weight.
Right. Right, and I think we did have better public participation at one of those meetings where we had that on our agenda, because It was a big issue. It was also before the state did its thing and passed all the housing bills last May.
I mean, the agendas we have, it has like feedback, discussion, comments, decision, and then recommendation, vote on board's input to city council. And I think that's the goal, is that at the end of these meetings or the next meeting, whatever, after we listen to public, listen to these experts, we then try to pass resolutions and send that to council, and then that's the only power we have, but I think that should be our objective. Since I've been on this board, we've not sent any resolutions to council. So, you know, I've learned a lot, but I think that's our goal. And I think we should be informed by, you know, our discussions and debates amongst each other, the people who we invite, and then the public. And I do think this is a productive conversation to have. I know it doesn't necessarily feel that way, but you know, how do we make change?
Well, do we need to vote on what we want to do with the structure of the meeting, even for next month, or can we
Nope.
just
We'll
decide?
just change the agenda and change our messaging.
Okay, well, what I think, I hope you all can agree on this, is that we should experiment with an open hybrid meeting in October. See if we can get the neighborhood outreach people to help us promote the agenda. If we get 4 people showing up, that's an improvement. Maybe it's a start. Who knows? I have a feeling it'll probably, because of the topic and our desire to learn about that topic, it'll have more of that study session feel. But I tune into council study sessions and take notes, so, you know, maybe that would be appealing to some members of the public. We could also put on the agenda for October, like what's a really great barn burner issue for a listening session that could actually help us shape a motion to council.
Well, in the
I
agenda,
don't feel like we're gonna be sending them motions every meeting. I think we need more time to digest information to do that.
so the agenda for October is this transitional housing office space. Is it just tied to changing office space into housing, or is it more for homeless, like?
Both, all kinds of housing.
So,
'Cause some of the challenges are the same, you gotta deal with the same codes and, you know, zoning changes and all that, so I think it's, there's lessons learned from every effort to do that. I'd also be kind of interested in learning more about that movie theater conversion.
Oh, no, it's gonna get demolished.
Okay, but they probably have to rezone it.
So my thought was that next month was gonna be adaptive reuse of office into housing
Yeah,
of various incomes for various populations. And then a subsequent meeting was going to focus on employer-based
right,
housing that might include the redevelopment of the movie theater.
right.
And then with regards to making a recommendation to city council, I feel like we're collecting data right now, but we haven't figured out yet what problem we're trying to solve and what solution we're going to recommend. And so in my mind, we lose credibility if we offer something to city council that hasn't been thought through. And I don't feel like yet we know what we should recommend.
And I don't disagree. I think the idea of having our next meeting be about transitioning or turning office space into housing solutions is a pretty good targeted thing, and I think it's interesting. Can we get the public to attend and pay attention to this? I mean, to me, that's kind of an exciting idea. We don't know where it's gonna go. We're here to listen, and then hopefully afterwards, or perhaps the following meeting, vote on a resolution and give recommendations to council. I think we want to hear from all sorts of people on it. So.
Can the public participation be after the panel discussion?
Yes. You can have, that's what I'm saying, try not to focus too much on how we structure the meeting. focus on topic. We can structure it any way you want, that you think will be the most useful.
Because maybe we'd get more participation if we have a panel discussion and then we say to the public, what do you think? What's your reaction to what you've heard? And what,
Before maybe we want to ask the panel questions and then the public can ask us in the panel questions or something. I like that idea.
Let's model that for a second. Let's say we had done that last month with a great panel
Yeah,
and we had 10 members of the public in the room, listen to what the panel had to say, and I guess we mix in board questions with audience questions. I would think good value would have been educating the public about the same thing we're being educated about.
yep.
Seems like a pretty good outcome.
And then after that, we meet the next week and we vote on something. The next month, we vote on something, hopefully. We feel like we're in that position to do so. I feel like that last meeting, at least you and I have been moved to say, let's study this issue more. I mean, I think we all agreed. And then you agreed, the Bridge House, let's look into this more. I think we're onto something. And I think that's a big thing. I've heard like discussions on NPR, like can commercial, I don't think anyone knows really how to do it. And I think that is a potential solution, something that we can get done. So.
Well, I remind everyone that there are some big issues coming up that we will want to weigh on, especially with family friendly. I can never remember the rest of it.
Zoning for affordable housing.
Family friendly zoning for affordable housing.
Vibrant neighborhood and vibrant neighborhood.
And, some other groups like Better Boulder and Boulder Housing Network have done quite a bit of analysis on this. And we could dive into that and make a recommendation based on their analysis, because
so would that be a subsequent meeting where we'd ask Better Boulder to come and present what they
we
suggested?
did talk about that at one of our chairs meetings, of getting like Macon and somebody from Better Boulder to come and tell us what they've learned, because we don't really do research outside of meetings. That's we're a little hamstrung compared to those organizations that, like, they've got a legislative committee that works on that. It meets twice a month and hammers things out. We don't always have the ability to do that because of can only meet 2 at a time and so forth. So would that be of interest to the board to have other housing advocates who have done policy analysis come in and tell us what they've learned? The family friendly affordable housing or another subject?
Sure.
I like the idea for our next meeting of focusing on turning commercial real estate into housing.
But the vibrant neighborhoods might be a future one, like January,
Well, we want
December.
to key it to when council is getting ready to act.
What is I don't know what it is. It sounds like.
It's basically allowing for lot splitting and various types of multifamily use within current single family neighborhoods.
It also would allow 60 units instead of 40 units. That's like we're just.
Right, why don't we just vote right now? Tell the city council to approve it.
It's going through the moves. It hit planning board and it's a legislative, legislative project that the staff is working on and has been working on. It got renamed this year. Last year it was affordable housing. And now it's, I don't remember what the first part is, but it's for vibrant neighborhoods. And it's
Family friendly.
family friendly.
So is planning board got it on future agenda?
We had an update from staff. I think it was either the last meeting or the meeting prior to that, so recently. So it's making it, and it'll go to city council to be, as these big projects the staff does, they do these updates along the way and we weigh in, but it is in motion right now.
Did the planning board vote on anything, or are we just listening for your information?
We were giving them feedback.
Oh, okay, which is what we've had when Carl Geiler comes here. We get the feedback,
Exactly. And he said he'd been to have.
which is not an emotion, but it's really valuable.
Right, right. It helps, as you say, you're talking about bringing more voices in. That's what staff does when they come, because it's a public hearing at the planning board, and you get all these different perspectives and voices that one hopes informs as the project gets
Mhm.
crafted.
And we do have Carl back to talk to us about that. Okay.
I need to check in with him. Cause he had talked about sending a memo this round,
Just sending us a memo and not presenting.
and then asking for your feedback that way, because he wasn't able to come to that.
Okay.
But maybe better Boulder presents, like we read what Carl wrote and then see what their reaction was.
Right. Okay, so I think we've got a plan for October 30th.
I just feel like we've got some big housing problems in Boulder when it comes to affordability for tenants. And homelessness, and I'd like to send some resolutions to council. And I'd like to hear from people so that we're informed. That's where I'm coming from, and I think we can do a better job at those goals.
Well, I agree with you on that. I do feel like maybe we're starting to spin our wheels a little bit after a very productive few months before that. So I'm gonna ask everyone to come to meetings with some very specific ideas about what you want to do. So we don't just have to like blow air about it during the meeting.
Well, I think we have a great idea for our next meeting.
Yeah, we do.
And I think we need to decide on the format for that meeting.
To say that in a nicer way, if people would come with specific agenda items that would be productive for future meetings, that would be really, really useful.
I have a question, maybe this is the appropriate time.
Sure.
So the Boulder Valley comp plan. Do we have a plan of when we're gonna kind of look at the housing portion and,
Yes, you will definitely be involved, I promise.
but do we yet have something kind of? We're gonna. talk
Specific
about it in
ideas.
February or something.
They haven't scheduled formal meetings yet. The
Okay.
kickoff is in October.
October.
So yeah, but it's a long process.
It is.
So it's gonna take 2 to 3 years. So there's gonna be multiple touch points along the way.
I
So-
totally hear that. I just wanna make sure that we're not.
You hear
losing-
when Christopher Johnson came and talked about the comp plan, it might have been way back in January.
And we said, oh, yeah, it's gonna be a few year plan and we wanna make sure that we're
Right,
putting energy towards it. And that was months ago. So I just wanna make sure we're not.
I totally agree. Do you feel that was a productive meeting with Christopher
Yes,
for us?
well, for me personally, it was super helpful. It was very informative and I think it was for others too. I just wanna make sure that we're still
In the loop?
Absolutely.
paying attention to that.
If you have thoughts or suggestions, love to hear about what you think the comp plan should focus on when it comes to housing.
Okay. Yeah, cause it's due 27, but they're hoping to push it to 26. Is that what I remember?
There was a planning board city council meeting update on BVCP. Was that
End of August.
3 weeks, a while ago?
Yeah.
Just basically, we're starting, and here's the big picture. The question that was posed was, what would look like a successful process to you at the end of it? So that was something that was part of the conversation is, what is your, what are you hoping gets accomplished that might not?
Question for the board. It's not a loaded question. Who has or takes the time to watch city council and planning board meetings or attend them?
Planning board, that's way past my bedtime. Sorry, 6.
Don't feel bad. I mean, I'm retired and I don't find time to do it. It's really it's a huge time commitment to keep up with that stuff.
I try to limit what I send you, but that was one of them, was the comp plan discussion.
Yeah,
I thought would be helpful so you know exactly what what to expect.
Right, right. And then if you start logging them to watch Zoom recordings, you you may as well put aside your weekend for that, because it takes a lot of time to do that. It's just a lot to keep up with, I gotta admit. So I'm not surprised if people don't watch HAB meetings, because I often don't make it to city council or planning board myself. I'm really interested.
Well, no offense to us. I don't know if this is the most riveting thing to watch, right? I'm poking fun at myself.
Watching this recording,
Are there any good local reporters who summarize those meetings really well?
Occasionally we get the Boulder Reporting Lab and they'll do a nice write-up of that, and they could be listening now, could be a report tomorrow.
Usually you have to say something pretty controversial.
So maybe should
Okay.
we start being a little more
Like a city
controversial?
council, planning board.
When we talk about
Is anyone
the airport, I
summarizing
got their
those?
attention, I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, there are meeting minutes.
Mhm. Those are also hard to follow.
Right. Typically,
Maybe I should start a blog, I don't know.
it typically is a reporting of this is what happened at council.
Yeah.
And it gives you that.
If it's a controversial issue, it will hit the Daily Camera.
Right.
And Shay Castle, who used to kind of manage, that was her passion, was to attend city council meetings and do
Mhm. What happened to her?
newsletter. She is now an editor at the Boulder Weekly.
Okay.
Right.
What's the other, Boulder Beat? Is that still going? on?
That was her.
That was her project.
Over the weekend,
Okay.
yeah.
That's it.
Let's test the controversy theory. I motion that the city sell Alpine Balsam to a luxury housing developer. Do I hear a second? Okay, that was not serious.
So are we good moving 23rd to the 30th?
We are, yeah.
Do you wanna make it official?
Vote on it.
So we can go to the ribbon cutting on the 23rd and then have that meeting on the 30th.
Correct.
I'm supportive.
Is there a motion or is that how we're doing this?
Yes.
No, we're just gonna do it by consensus.
Usually do it by
Aye.
motion, Michael. Come on. Trying
No, now we have.
when you change meetings, yes, that's a formal
Okay,
action.
do I hear a motion to move our meeting, our monthly meeting from Wednesday, October 23rd to Wednesday, October 30th, and in addition to open that up as a hybrid meeting with the public invited to attend in person?
And I'd like to add to that we do it downtown and just see if that's.
Can't do it downtown.
October.
Not in October.
Not in October.
I haven't gotten any training on the council chambers.
That's as soon as we could do it.
I don't know.
Probably next year at the earliest, I would say.
It started in January.
I thought we decided we were gonna see how many people showed up.
I don't think we're gonna get anything. But I guess part of that is. Also, can we, and I don't know if we need to do a motion, can I reach out to these engagement people and say, hey, this is what we're doing?
Sure.
Can you help us? I can CC one of you with our open meetings rules.
Yeah, maybe they'll come.
Maybe they'll come to the city employee.
No, I think that's a great idea, actually.
Do we need to make a motion for me to do that?
Okay, let's do one. I'll make a motion that we move the HAB meeting from the 23rd to the 30th here, and that it will be open to in-person public participation,
In addition to hybrid.
in addition to the Zoom hybrid.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Your motion passes unanimously, and we'll have our next meeting on October 30th.
I have another motion that Chip will reach out to the Community Engagement Department for the city of Boulder to see if they will help promote our meetings on these issues. Does anyone want to second me doing that? Just come to me.
I'll second.
All in favor? The motion passes unanimously for Chip to reach out to community engagement people in the city to encourage greater awareness and participation in our meetings, which are now open to the public. Excellent.
Can we talk about some more scheduling a little bit?
Sure.
I have one more thing for this upcoming meeting. I really would like to get someone in finance and tax to speak to this. Were you planning on reaching out? I don't know if it's a city. I could also try reaching out to a law professor at CU. on tax. Because I think tax could be a big piece of this puzzle. What can the city do to incentivize this? What are your thoughts on that? And that's either someone in our finance department for the city or someone who understands tax law.
Thinking this is so localized, we need somebody from the city.
And is that as easy as emailing a city person outside of your department? And saying, hey, will you show up after work hours? Like, they probably don't like that, right?
I'm just trying to think who would be a good person in finance, city finance. I would say refine your ask a little bit more. I'm still not entirely clear what your expectation is.
What-
Not right now, because
Let me tease that out a little bit. So as the ask, what could the city do to manipulate its tax structure in a way that provides incentive for housing conversions?
Right.
Is that-
What tax
is that a little
incentives?
better?
So for example, is it possible that the city can give tax credits or reduce the tax burden for commercial landlords who lease their property out for transitional housing? Is that a tool in the city's tool chest? Is that something city council can do? Or if it even requires a ballot referendum, is that something city council can send to the voters? You know, to encourage, what can we do to create a financial incentive to owners of commercial property to turn into housing?
can you send me an email, Chip? Just with that, and I'll reach out.
Do we need to vote on these?
No.
But I think that's a because that to me, like, what zoning is one power that the city has that speaks to this. And then I think the other is tax. That's how the government creates financial incentives. Our entire tax code in America is one, to generate revenue, so the government has money to spend, but also to shape conduct, to shape financial conduct. We encourage people to have babies, we encourage people to get married, we encourage people to buy homes with our tax policy. Why can't we encourage commercial land, property owners to turn it into, and what tools does the city have to do that?
Any other matters from that the board members would like to bring up? Your motion to adjourn?
Did you have
I have some scheduling things for you.
Oh, sure.
So, our November and December meetings conflict with the holidays, per usual. So just keep that in mind. So next month, we're gonna have to basically reschedule both of those. Typically, we've combined them into a single meeting in early December. That's typically what people prefer. So another wrinkle, so our department, Housing and Human Services, is looking to have sort of a boards and commission get together. It's sort of an appreciation. It is also an opportunity for you to kind of better understand what all the other boards and commissions provide to, or what they do in relationship to Housing and Human Services. There are quite a few, so it's like 30 or 40 people, so it could be very interesting. And I think there's a small request in there to get your feedback on this concept of an annual report that we would do, reporting on all the activities of Housing and Human Services, as opposed to having a dashboard, which is the usual way for housing. It would be something short and glossy, basically to show the accomplishments for the year. So 2 things to keep in mind. Okay, combining the November, December meeting, early December. We have some dates for it. What we will send you, and you can tell us if they work for you. That's something we're gonna have to do in October at the October meeting.
And then the housing board collaboration, would that be like just a meet and greet, or would there be structure where there would be like topics and questions, or like, is it just schmoozing, or it's like structured?
It's both. So we want to have enough time, just make it enjoyable. It's, like I said, a celebration.
Yep.
of all your work and appreciation. And then a small part asking you to provide us some feedback.
Great. And that would be likely in early December as well?
Right, so the dates being proposed at the moment are December 3rd, 4th, or 10th. Likely from 5:30 to 7:30,
Mhm.
8, somewhere in that general area. We'll be at a city building, likely the OSNP hub, off of 55th. Dinner would be provided. I will probably send out a poll next week and I'll need your feedback by probably a week or so.
Right.
So that we can get the date finalized prior to our next meeting.
So then maybe we do a HAB meeting like on the 20th of November and skip the December since there's that.
That's an option too. Yes.
Super.
So do we want to do have for November 20th? Because the 27th is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I imagine you don't want to do that.
Well, if we did the combined, we've often done that combined meeting in December. So,
Right, but maybe instead of the combined meeting in December, we're doing this Housing and Human Services in December.
yeah, right.
So you would
I'm
cancel your
available
December
on the
meeting.
20th.
Okay, it's like November 20th works for me.
Works for me.
And Thanksgiving is the 28th. So the joint meeting of all the boards, is that basically a social get together or more like a forum?
It's not well defined or perfectly defined, but it's again, a celebration. Get to know each other, what different boards and commissions do.
Is it open to the public?
It will have to be because it's
Well, if it's a social get together, it doesn't.
I don't think it's.
yeah,
Because, it's
I
not
don't think
a-
they're gonna get away with that. We tried it,
Oh, really?
but we'll see.
Okay.
It might be. We might say there's no city business. But
If
we'll
it's
see.
social, then it's a holiday party.
Yeah. Tried that one time, didn't work.
It's like a lot of TBD there, but it'd be great.
So what I'm hearing is move the November meeting to November 20th.
Fine.
And cancel the December meeting in lieu of this gathering first, one of those dates in December.
And then, I mean, I know we're jumping ahead because we have October, we have our transitional housing panel, but I feel like we should send some resolutions to city council this year. And is that what we're gonna do in November, is talk about everything we've done this year and what we want to send to city council?
Would we be ready to weigh in on family-friendly zoning? Never remember what that's really called.
I don't know.
And that's the big one. And then the other big one is the comp plan, but that's premature to make a recommendation on, I think.
Well,
I understand the desire to let the council know what we've done this year. Because I don't want them to think we've been wasting our time. But I don't feel like I know what I want to advocate for yet, because I still feel like we're in the fact-finding stage.
Yeah, I feel like we're in the wake of a lot of big moves. And it's not bad to be in effect finding. I think it's good. You don't want to just send resolutions for the sake of it.
well, I don't know if it sounds like last year before I was here, you guys did like a big letter. Right?
Yes. Then we made big recommendations.
Right. I don't know, like, we don't have to get everything all in one letter. We can, if we feel confident in November that we have an idea on this transitional housing, that can be, it can just be that. Like, that's not everything we stand for or believe in. It's one thing, you know? So that's just a thought.
I can see something like that.
Yeah.
And to study the potential for converting commercial to transitional and other types of housing. This is what we found and this is what we recommend.
Yep.
We could be ready to do that.
And that's not the end all be all for all housing issues in
No.
Boulder, but it's one thing, you know, that's
I think that's a good suggestion.
the thought.
Okay, we'll come to pencil sharpened October 30th. First, we'll celebrate the factory on October 23rd.
Do you want to vote on the schedule change while it's fresh in everyone's mind? Make it official?
Sure, do I hear a motion to vote on rescheduling, combining the November, December meetings to one meeting on November 20th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passes unanimously.
Motion to adjourn? Oh, debrief.
You're a second.
Oh, I think you have to debrief first.
Oh, debrief. Okay, well, debrief is kind of I think we had a good discussion on this meeting. We had one public participant who raised the issue of problems with rentals in Boulder, which is something we'd like to address more robustly. We had a really good discussion debriefing our great housing solutions panel. Still, I think, turning the wheels on how to transmit that information into a recommendation. But I think we're still needing to learn more how to make this happen at a higher level. We had to table the item on employer created housing because our guest speaker was not available. We did decide to move our October meeting until October 30th and to add in person to virtual only. And to do that at this location, see how it goes. Chip has agreed to reach out to the neighborhood engagement folks of the city to see if we can get their help in generating more interest in attendance from the public. We also moved the November, December meeting to one combined meeting on November 20th. I requested new ideas, additional ideas for agenda items for future meetings. And we also agreed that we, based on our next meeting, which will be on the topic of converting commercial into housing, that we hope to tease a resolution out of that to send to council after our November 20th meeting. Did I miss anything big? Okay, meeting debriefed.
Motion to adjourn?
Question mark or a statement?
Statement.
Second.
In favor? All of the factory update. Thank you.
I'm not trying to catch a bus.